MPTP, make a deal. Welcome to Wednesdays through the rest of the year. On this, no buzz. A Just Bees book club. I guess I'm scheduled out through all Fridays and all Wednesdays of this year now. So anything else I read, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. Welcome. I read Jewels of Aptor, The Jewels of Aptor by Samuel R. Delany, one of the greatest of all time, in terms of words and science fiction, but words in general. Just an absolute banger. This is Delany's first novel, and I had the unfortunate experience of reading The Einstein Intersection this year, a book that I have talked about incessantly to SBs. And that kind of really outshone this one for me. I think this is a fantastic novel. I think 2 novels later, Delany was the best to ever do it. And then he wrote Dahlgren. I don't know if it's 2 novels. There's probably more than that. Some of the Navarian stuff was probably out at that point. I've never read any of that stuff. I've not read a ton of Delany. Stars in My Pockets, Like Grain of Sand. Like old Spectology episode, I talked about it for 2 hours with Matt and Adrian. Phenomenal book, just absolute world killer of a book. Einstein Intersection, one of the best things I've ever read. I did an episode on this show last year of Tides of Lust, a really fucked up book that was a fascinating read. Also talked, I think this year about Times Square Red, Times Square Blue, phenomenal. I've read chunks of his, what is the title of that book? I don't have it in this room. Other chunks of his nonfiction, all extremely impressive to me. So when I say that this is the least good Delany book I've read, the bar is in the stratosphere. It is post-solar system level, if that was a measurement of height, which it's not. I think the big takeaway for me for this one was that it's a very good Lord of the Rings with a twist. I think it's probably better than the Lord of the Rings too. No equivocation there. But it's kind of just doing a thing, and it's doing it in an interesting way, and in historical context, I think it was probably absolutely mind-blowing. But it is, a journey of, Geo and Urson and the snake, and, what's the other pirate's name? It starts with 2 eyes. Can I find it? Can I find it? It's not on that page. Emi. Eventually, so it's Geo and Urson, who are the poet and the sailor. Geo is a young poet who's friends with Urson, who's a sailor who is very good at sailing, but also is quick to temper. It sort of starts with them wandering around the city. They encounter a thief called Snake, who does not talk because his tongue has been ripped out, who steals something from them, but then is commanded by this lady who has a weird jewel. Snake also has one of these jewels. You see where this is going? These might be the titular Jewels of Aptor. And the 3 of them join her voyage from Argo to... It's been a minute since I read this, and I took 0 notes. There's Priests of Argo and Priests of... I swear to God, I'm going to find it. I swear to God. Hama. Argo and Hama are sort of the dueling gods of this world. They live on different continents, or they're worshipped on different continents. The woman is the priestess of Argo, who was able to sort of mind control Snake into returning the stolen goods and joining the journey. there's issues on the journey. They get shipwrecked at a certain point, and they find another sailor named Emi, who's the sort of fourth of the crew, and they travel to find the third and final jewel of Aptor and return it to this priestess of Argo. They find they start to find out what happened to Snake. There's a series of gods. There's a pretty decently built world with cool stuff in it. The thing that struck me sort of early on is that I did appreciate that it was just ready and raring to jump into like big fantasy tropes that probably wouldn't have been as recognizable at the time. They've been, certainly some of them have been codified since, but like I said, I mean, the two of the three jewels are just there right basically from the jump, right? There's a bunch of times where a big fantasy question will get asked, and then it'll just get answered, and then it's like, okay, so that thing that would have taken up a whole book of the Shannara series is a half a page or whatever, right? Like, which I think there's merit in both approaches. It's been a long time since I read Shannara. I thought about doing some more of it again earlier this year, and I was like, I don't know. I like those books too much to read them again. But yeah, I appreciated that bit of just like knowledge that there are certain things that should show up as tropes to qualify a thing as a fantasy adventure or a science fiction adventure, and how willing Delany was just from the jump to be like, okay, but there's an answer to this, and sometimes the answer is a poem that he wrote, and that's fun. Yeah, there's just like a lot of good stuff in here. It's a romp. It doesn't do the thing that I love so much about the Einstein Intersection, which is like talked about in the War, the Myth, and the Genre video. It was my birthday thing. A war, a myth, and a genre. Is it a genre? Whatever. Where he has this ability by the Einstein Intersection to treat with equal weight his preoccupation with genre fiction as a sort of form, and his sort of more poetic or theoretical concerns, and to like make those things sort of sing equally throughout that book. I think he's not quite there yet with Jewels of Aptor, just based on reading it, like, and that's not necessarily a judgment of Delany's ability as a writer, but like it's also his just the publishing landscape. Like he wasn't, it's his first book, right, etc., etc. Yeah, that's kind of basically what I have to say about the Jewels of Aptor, I think. The sort of final big reveal is good. That was like kind of the only thing I had sort of vaguely heard about this book, was that like, it takes you, it sort of pulls the veil at the end, in a way that I actually like really need to think through more. And I think when I did the initial Einstein Intersection video, I kind of said a similar thing where I was just like, I think this is really, really good. And I know like there's this couple of specific things, but I can't really come to it. And then when I was trying to write about More Perfect by Temio, and decided to sort of make that Orpheus connection as sort of the pitch, and then ended up writing what turned into that video, a lot of what was truly brilliant about Einstein Intersection like burst out of me, and like I am extremely open to that being a possibility with the Jewels of Aptor as well. But on a out of blush, I think it's a delightful book. I think it's a book that should be read. I think all of his books should probably be read, and I think I will be continuing to do so. I guess maybe Tides of Lust is not maybe one you should read if you have certain concerns about explicitly fucked up sex and like necrophilia and shit, in the context of like an erotic novel. I think it's still an extremely interesting thing, and it should be read outside of that context, though. Anyway, Jewels of Aptor. It's a good time. It's smarter than I think I understand it to be, and I'm looking forward to. God, I gotta get back to Babel 17 and Dahlgren at some point. I'm so excited. Thanks for not watching.